Ojai Valley is known for its beauty. Nestled in the Topa Topa Mountains with orange groves, hiking trails, and sunsets that paint the sky pink. It's the kind of place people call safe, quiet, and even magical. But here's the truth. Even in the most beautiful places, darkness can creep in. In December 1998, just before Christmas, that darkness claimed the life of a 14-year-old freshman from my high school, Nordhoff. Her name was Kali Manley. I knew Kaylee, barely. She was in my first period art class. I was a senior and she was a freshman. I never spoke to her, but I remember her super clearly. Oversized sweatshirt, jeans, standing by the heater every morning. Quiet, reserved, and maybe even shy. She wasn't someone you'd expect to end up in the headlines, but by Christmas, her name was everywhere. Kaylee was born on December 29th, 1983, at Community Memorial Hospital in Ventura. She was a daughter, a sister, a granddaughter, and she spent her whole life in the Ojai Valley. She went to Arnez Elementary School and De Anza Middle School, and eventually became a freshman at Nordhoff High School. She excelled at art and had already found a love for Maya Angelou's writing, words that spoke to her creativity and strength. Kaylee wasn't just a student. She was a swimmer and a junior lifeguard. She loved being in the water, loved the outdoors, loved the mountains and the streams of Ojai. She also had a softer side, a dreamier side. She loved romantic movies, she loved to draw and paint, and people who knew her called her a free spirit, unruled, wandering, and emotional in the best way. In my own memory, I picture her in our class. Her oversized sweatshirt and jeans, curled up by the heater, quiet but steady. She didn't seek attention, but she had a presence. And those who knew her better said she had a butterfly spirit, the kind of girl who could be carried away by her emotions and ideas, floating above the world. Her friend Cassie Harris later wrote, "They once called her a butterfly, for her thoughts and emotions often took hold of her, carried her above the world, and she would float there. But now they call her an angel." Kaylee wasn't just a victim of a crime. She was an artist, a swimmer, a daughter, a sister, a free spirit, a girl who loved, who dreamed, and who was deeply loved in return. On the night of December 19th, 1998, Kaylee was at a sleepover at her friend's house. That should have been her safe place. Two girls tucked away for the night, just doing what teenage girls do. But that night, two men showed up. David Alvarez, 22 years old, and his friend Robert Myers, 21. They picked Kaylee up from her friend's house. And this right here was the moment things went wrong. Instead of staying put, instead of saying no, Kaylee left with them. The group stopped at the Circle K in Miners Oaks. They bought wine coolers. Just another errand. Nothing alarming on the surface. But predators often disguise danger as something ordinary. "We're just running to the store. We'll be right back." The plan was never to take her back, though. And here's the first safety call out. Predators look for the smallest cracks, a moment of rebellion, a quick detour, a ride that seems harmless. That's how they pull kids away from safety. Kaylee probably thought that she'd be right back to her friend's house. Instead, Alvarez drove her to a trailer belonging to his family in Miners Oaks. And once she stepped back through that door, the night spiraled into tragedy. The trailer in Miners Oaks was Alvarez's territory. It was dark, cramped, and isolated, a world away from the safety of her friend's house. According to testimony later given by Myers, they drank wine coolers. Alvarez asked Kaylee if she used drugs. She told him no. And here's another safety call out. Predators will test boundaries. They'll offer alcohol, drugs, anything to lower defenses and shift the power dynamic. At some point, Alvarez took Kaylee into a bedroom. Myers said she didn't look forced in that moment, but what he told investigators later is chilling. Alvarez came out and announced he was going to have sex with her. This wasn't a boast. This wasn't locker room talk. This was a predator stating his intent. Myers claimed he fell asleep after that. When he woke up, both Alvarez and Kaylee were gone. And In the early hours of December 20th, Alvarez left the trailer with Kaylee. What happened in the hours that followed, only Alvarez knows. But a week later, on Christmas Day, the truth came out. Alvarez led authorities to a large drainage pipe off Maricopa Highway, deep in Matilija Canyon. If you've ever been there, you know the feeling. Steep canyon walls, wild terrain, the kind of place where the silence is heavy. Beautiful in daylight, absolutely terrifying at night. Inside that pipe, they found Kaylee. She was naked, and she had been strangled. The autopsy revealed bruises, scrapes, and broken fingernails, defensive wounds on her arms and neck, proof that she fought for her life. And here's the safety call out, ladies. If you are ever attacked, fight, scratch, bite, break your nails, leave marks. Investigators need those signs. They tell the story you may not get to tell yourself. Toxicology showed traces of alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, and an antidepressant in Kaylee's system. But physical evidence of rape? None. No sperm. No injuries confirming penetration. Still, prosecutors argued Alvarez attempted it, pointing to his own words, "I'm going to have sex with her." For Ojai, the discovery was devastating. On Christmas Day, while families unwrapped gifts, Kaylee's family was grieving the worst loss imaginable. After Kaylee's body was found, the investigation moved fast. Alvarez was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and attempted rape. Detectives testified that Alvarez had been despondent earlier that night, upset after a fight. He'd bought cocaine, used drugs and alcohol, and wasn't in his right state of mind. Though let's be clear, that is no excuse. The prosecution's case rested on three things: Meyer's testimony that Alvarez announced he was going to have sex with Kaylee, the fact that Alvarez was the last person seen with her, and the defensive wounds she showed she resisted. But the lack of physical evidence of rape made the attempted rape charge harder to prove. If Alvarez went to trial, he faced the possibility of life without parole or even the death penalty. On the eve of trial in February 2000, Alvarez made his move. He accepted a plea deal, guilty to first-degree murder. In exchange, prosecutors dropped the attempted rape charge and the special allegations. That deal took the death penalty off the table. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. And here's the part that hurts. There was no trial, no jury, no chance for Kaylee's story to be told in full. Just a few yes or no answers from Alvarez, and the case was closed. Her father later said the family accepted the deal because they couldn't bear a trial that would drag Kaylee's name through the mud. They believed Alvarez would never walk free. But the reality is, the system let him avoid the full weight of justice. A predator admitted to murder and walked away with a deal. Kaylee's family had to do the unthinkable, plan their daughter's funeral. The service was held on December 29, 1998. That would have been her 15th birthday. Instead of balloons and cake, her family and friends gathered at Ojai Valley Community Church in mourning. The church was filled with flowers and Christmas poinsettias. Pastor Paul Bergman stood at the front and gave a message that shocked some people. He preached about love, not anger or hate. He said vengeance wouldn't bring healing. And Kaylee's father, Chuck, said the family believed in that message. But love doesn't erase grief. Later that same day, Nordhoff High School held a memorial for her classmates. Students, teachers, and friends filled the auditorium. They cried, they hugged, and they shared memories over the microphone. They played Kaylee's favorite music, songs she would have laughed to, sung along to. In that space, the reality hit. A classmate, a friend, a girl who should have been sitting in art class that week was gone. Her ashes were later scattered in the mountains and streams of Ojai, the places she loved the most. The same wild places where she swam as a junior lifeguard, where she painted, and where she spent her short life. For me, the grief of her family was something I will never forget. After I graduated from Nordhoff, I'd see her father and sister at the Pierpont Racket Club where I worked. They carried sadness in their faces, in their posture, and in their eyes. The kind of grief that doesn't fade over a lifetime. And that's when it sunk in for me. This wasn't just a headline. This wasn't just another crime story. This was the destruction of a family. A father who would never walk his daughter down the aisle. Sisters who would never braid her hair again, or share clothes, or whisper secrets late at night. A mother who would never get to see her daughter grow up. This was real, and it never went away. Kaylee's story has stayed with me all these years, not just because of how she died, but because of what it represents. She was 14. She was at a sleepover. She trusted the wrong people for just one night, and that one night changed everything. This case is why I'm hyper-vigilant as a mom, why I talk to my daughters about predators, why I tell them again and again, don't leave the safety of your group. Don't get into cars with people older than you or people you don't know. Don't believe it when an older man makes you feel grown up. That's not love. That's grooming. Predators thrive on secrecy. They thrive on shame. They thrive on the false belief that this could never happen to me. But Kaylee's story proves it can happen anywhere, and even in a quiet, beautiful town like Ojai. Her tragedy is a reminder to all of us. Trust your gut. Pay attention to the red flags and speak up when something feels off. Kali Lynn Manley mattered, and by keeping her story alive, we honor her memory and protect the girls who are still here. Thank you for being a part of this episode. If Kaylee's story has moved you, please subscribe and share it. I'll leave you with this reminder from Proverbs 31, verse 25. She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. That's the kind of strength we hold on to as women, as mothers, and as daughters. For the girls who know their gut is always right, this space is for you.